the original Season 3, Episode 6, Beautiful Mistake. Love this episode because not only do we get both actresses of Rebekah, which was something I was kind of worried about, although now I'm still worried that we won't ever get the former actress again. She was in this episode, or I guess the second actress. So she was in this episode, then we got Claire Holt, like our original Rebekah, back. But I don't know, it's like, okay, well, she's been daggered, so, which is like, man, I swear Rebekah gets daggered so much, it's insane. It's so crazy. But, she gets daggered again, and now we have this insane plot going on. We got to see her and Freya together, which was actually really cool, because, I'm sure they've shown that power before, but I don't remember it, and I just love that ability that Freya was using, where it's like a projection of her, and it was pretty sweet, especially when Rebekah was in the crazy fight scene. I didn't think that Freya could use her magic while she was the projection, and then she like snaps all the vampires' necks. I was like, that was super badass from her. And I was like, that was just surprising as well, because I'm like, oh, I thought she was just a hologram. Basically, a hologram. But she was drinking, so that was another thing. I was like, can she pick up stuff? Because no one could touch her, but she was drinking, so I was like, was that her actually drinking there, or was that something, was that like a part of the sort of illusion, and she was just drinking, back at wherever she was casting the spell. But either way, the way that was played out was very cool. Like, she was there, then she got cast away, and she was like knocked out at the table, and she couldn't, find Rebekah anymore. And then we had, Aya or Ava. I swear I was saying her name wrong in the last episode, and or the last review for the last episode, and I still don't remember. I always mix it up between Aya and Ava, so it's probably Aya, but that's also probably wrong. Whatever it is, she comes back into play as like, kind of the muscle for this episode, and she certainly plays her part. She holds up against Rebekah for quite a while. Rebekah, being, in a different body for so long, isn't exactly like at her max potential, because she probably could have taken her down, because she's, of course, the first vampire, or, one of the originals. And I think that Aya might be Tristan's first turn. I believe they actually mentioned that specifically somewhere in this episode. So, she's, of course, like, super freaking old. But it was just really cool. It was a cool, action scene. And then Klaus is with Aurora the whole episode, and they kind of do sort of a flash forward, or basically the whole episode is a flashback until the very end, where Klaus realizes that Aurora knew exactly what was going on this entire time, and, her plan was actually to let things play out, have two people from her side line get Rebekah's body, and take her somewhere safe. And I was like, that's actually kind of cool. And then there was some other things that happened in this episode that were insanely huge. The biggest, of course, being the reveal that this entire Sireline war is really just like, which they kind of revealed in the last episode. It was, they've been working together the whole time. There's no actual war. But they do want to torture all of the originals. Even though technically it was all on Elijah, they do kind of want to torture everyone. And I guess it's just a part of the spell. They have to do it that way, because otherwise they probably would have just kidnapped Elijah and just done it that way. But Elijah compelled 3 people, of course, being the first, people that, were turned by the original. So we have Aurora, her brother Tristan, and Lucien. And all 3 of them are compelled by Elijah to believe that they're Klaus, Elijah, and Rebekah, and forced to run as bait so that, the rest of them can, as the actual, Michaelsons, they can just relax on the countryside and stuff, and their father would go off chasing, 3 people that think, they're, that they're actually the Michaelsons. And when I heard that, I was like, that is insane. And then it just brings up more questions, because we still don't know how Tristan was turned to begin with. So we still need that flashback. We still need, what exactly happened. Because they would have had to have met up again, because, of course, Elijah compelled Aurora to basically tell Klaus, like, I don't really love you, and I see you as the monster and stuff. So they run into each other again, obviously. They take off. I'm pretty sure they took off with Lucien. He did actually join them. Aurora stayed. Tristan hadn't been turned yet, but he was turned by Elijah later on. So they all meet up again, and it's like, we still need that flashback. And then they may or may not actually show us, even because they revealed it now, but they also revealed the fact that Tristan was turned by Elijah, and we haven't seen that flashback. So I'm sure we'll still get both, and it's just like, I really want to. I want to see how they met up again, because they took off because they were getting busted. Their father was coming into town, all this other stuff. So was it years later? Was it very soon after? Like, I want to know what happened so much, and it doesn't even matter compared to what's happening now. But it's just a part of the lore, because it's so close to, like, the originals themselves, but them being, like, the first natural born vampires. It just has me so curious. So I want to see what happened with Tristan, and I want to see what happened when they showed up, because if Elijah compelled all of them to believe that they were Klaus, Elijah, and Rebekah, I'm wondering now if, like, Aurora was taken out of her compulsion of the first thing, where it's like she was able to be with Klaus for a little bit, or if Elijah just flat out went back, which is probably, now that I think about it, which would really suck if he just did it like, oh, you know what, I'm tired of running, and he just turned on them for no reason, because they kind of didn't matter to him. He could have easily just gone back if that were the case, because he could have had Lucien with him and said, like, hey, Lucien, why don't you come with me and we'll go see Aurora and Tristan. And then he compels Lucien on the way to think that he's Klaus, maybe. Then he turns, then he turns Tristan and makes Tristan believe that, he's himself. And then, of course, Aurora to be Rebekah, which makes sense because that would also tie them to the sire lines, and they would think that they're the person that actually sired them. And that could have easily been the way. That could have been exactly the way that it happened. No one else at the time, if this was still before the rest of the originals learned compulsion, it still would have only been Elijah. And so no one would have thought that that could have happened. And he could have easily said, like, oh, that's probably how Lucien and Aurora, he says, like, oh, they got together, and then, they just took off. So, once again, tons of speculation that always happens every time they give us, like, some little hint, and I just think of, like, a million different possibilities. But I love that reveal. Very entertaining. Another really awesome reveal was the fact that, for some reason, the Strix are after Davina, which I was not expecting whatsoever. Like, they have this guy who used to work for Genghis Khan, which was insane, but he was super awesome, and he was like, when he followed Haley, he's like, stealth, my skills lay in other areas, and Haley couldn't get a touch on him. He's just, like, dodging left and right and stuff. He was a really awesome fighter, and just, he was cool all around. I kind of wish that guy was one of the good guys, because he was, like, super cool. So he's, like, beating all of them up. He almost kills Marcel and Haley. He's about to, like, just rip both their hearts out. And then he's even able to resist the second compulsion from Elijah, so that we, of course, don't actually get the answer as to why the Strix want Davina. But obviously it's so that she can be the one to do the spell, which we kind of get from the other storyline this episode. So they're going to try to kidnap her because, I guess, because Ava, or I, whatever, I don't know why it's so hard for me to remember 3 letters, but I think that's why, because it's not like a full name, it's just like Aya, or Iva, or Ava, not Iva. Aya, Iva, Ava, whatever it is. She does kind of mention that the witch that takes down Rebekah and banishes Freya is meant to be the one to cast this spell. And then we also have like this medallion that Lucien forces Cami to find. So now we have this other thing, which I don't know what that is. So we have that, we have them going after Davina, we have this other weapon that's supposed to be magically spelled by a witch that will be able to take out the originals. And then there's this big spell itself, which is meant to basically trap, the originals almost in purgatory permanently, and just keep them, once again, kind of dagger them, toss them in the ocean or something, simple like that. So I don't know what to really expect from this season now. It feels like they introduced so much other crazy stuff in this episode, but it was all really good. It was a lot of good action in this one for sure. It was great, of course, to see both Rebeccas in this episode. Still sad now, because I'm like, I don't know if we're ever going to get the witch body back. And that also surprised me when they killed her, because it wasn't like, oh, they put a knife up to her neck or anything like that. It was like, we need the original body of Rebekah. And it was just like this random person came up to her. She was like, "Can I help you?" And then boom, they slit her throat, and she just drops dead. And I don't know if they're gonna bring her back. I would love for them to do that because now we still have the Cole storyline, which obviously that was the whole reason Rebekah was gone. Like, I'm gonna try to bring Cole back, and she was really close. She said that was the actual spell right there. So I don't know if something can happen where Freya could do sort of like a memory spell where she remembers, almost like a photographic memory in a sense, but it's just done through a spell, and it's like this is exactly what at least the couple of pages she saw actually said, and then she has to figure out the rest so that they can get Cole back. Which, if that's the case, they'll most likely save that for the next season instead of adding it on to this insane war, which isn't a war, which is actually a secret war against the originals and not the Sirelines and all this other craziness. So probably won't happen until the next season. We still, of course, have Davina dealing with her own little war happening after kind of the onslaught that Haley put on all those witches in that one area of the quarter. So Davina has to deal with that. Now she's secretly being hunted by the Strix, which of course she'll be told by Marcel, I'm assuming, in the very next episode, because I don't know why he would possibly hide that from her. Like, you're in danger, gotta let you know that. But I enjoyed this episode for sure. A lot of great action. I really loved the interrogation scene. That was very cool because it was just they fought a very intense character that they could not defeat. Every time somebody said the name, it was just like, kill that person. Why are you even here? Go help them kill that person and stuff. So that guy was insanely deadly, and he certainly proved that because he was about to kill Marcel and Haley. And this is a man who was bit. It had to have been like an hour before, maybe 2 hours by Haley. He was bit, so he's infected, and he was still just moving around like it was nothing. Still able to fight the compulsion after he was about to give away like the big secret for why they wanted Davina. So he was an awesome character. Very great fight scene. The stuff with Rebekah fighting all those vampires was really fun. Freya with like just that was like what 10 vampires or a dozen vampires. She was just like boom, and all their necks snapped and everyone just dropped to the ground. So tons of great action, lots of really cool reveals. Really looking forward to this next episode. I don't know if we'll see exactly what Aurora has planned as to where Rebekah's body's going to end up going. I don't know if she'll take the dagger out of Rebekah's body, which she probably wouldn't because that would just end up drawing Rebekah to the quarter, and then the originals would all be in the same place, which is exactly what they need for the plan to work. But we also have this new medallion, which is going to do whatever it does. Cami is in a really crazy position now with the cop, and it was kind of messed up what Lucien did to him. Like, you're going to do this, and you'll never quite find it, but you always feel like you're just really crappy, and you'll never, quite be on the cusp of genius or something. Like, just everything he said, I was like, that was insanely harsh what he did to him. But he's not dead, so there's something to that, I guess. I don't know. But I really enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, though. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know, what do you guys think is going to happen? Because I'm pretty sure something's going to go wrong. They're going to have Rebekah come back, and she'll end up being, of course, in the quarter. So I want to know your speculations as to how Rebekah is going to end up in the quarter, despite the fact that Aurora's plan went perfectly well. Her people took out the other guys, at least temporarily, snapped their necks. They have Rebekah's body. They drove her off somewhere randomly safe. So how are they going to get the originals in the same area? Because my guess is Freya's going to figure it out, or not Freya, but Klaus is going to be told by Aurora. She's going to be like, this is where they're headed. He's going to go there. Freya's going to have to look for him because he's going to just be gone. He probably won't tell anyone because that's what Klaus kind of does. Especially now that he knows what the plan is. He wouldn't do that. And then Freya will find out where he is. Elijah will go to him. And then somehow that would relate. Somehow they'd be captured and brought back to the quarter because they wouldn't do the whole thing outside of the city for the finale and stuff like that. Plus, we're like in the middle. We aren't even at the middle of the season. So I don't know, that probably wouldn't happen soon at all. So if that isn't how it takes place, then somehow Rebekah's going to end up waking up. It's either one of those, like they're going to go to Rebekah and then they'll do the spell even with Rebekah unconscious, or Rebekah's going to be undaggered, probably by one of the Strix or something like that, and then it's like I saved you, I'm a part of your side line or someone else's. We have to do this and get back to the quarter, and then that's how they get trapped. But I want to know your speculation, so please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.